What happened at the Council of Nicaea, and why it still matters today? Most people think the early church was united, but by the time of the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, something major had shifted. This wasn't just a doctrinal meeting, it was the beginning of something far bigger. The first council in Acts 15 was led by apostles, but the Council of Nicaea? It was led by bishop, under the watchful eye of the Roman Emperor Constantine. Here's the backstory. By the early 300s, persecution had nearly crushed the church. But then Constantine claimed to convert, issued the Edict of Milan, and made Christianity legal. That may sound like a victory, but it came with strings. Now the church had imperial favor and imperial oversight. In 325 AD, Constantine called a council in Nicaea to settle a growing controversy. Arius, a bishop from Alexandria, was teaching that Jesus wasn't fully God, just a created being. The stakes were high. If Jesus isn't divine, salvation collapses. So over 300 bishops gathered, not to pray and wait on the Spirit like Acts 15, but to vote. A creed was written affirming that Jesus is of the same substance with the Father, fully God. That part was true and necessary. But something else happened too. This was the first time Christian doctrine was officially enforced by the state. Those who didn't sign the Nicene Creed were exiled. Dissent was no longer just a spiritual issue, it became a political one. Truth had become institutionalized, and that set the stage for the rise of church hierarchy, the merging of Christianity and Roman politics, and eventually, the power of Rome's bishop, who would become known as the Pope. What started as a defense of Christ's deity became a pattern. Imperial councils defining doctrine, punishing heresy, and building a state-backed church system. But the question is, did Jesus ever authorize that? The early believers didn't vote on truth. They were led by the Holy Spirit, grounded in the Scriptures, and accountable to each other, not a political machine. So yes, Nicaea defended an essential truth, but it also opened a door. What if the institutional church that grew from these councils wasn't the church Jesus built, but a political version, hijacked, repackaged, and enforced by empire? We'll tackle that head-on in our next episode of the What If series. Follow along. It's time to ask the hard questions.